Hello, 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 beautiful people. How are you guys doing on this lovely Tuesday? Yana Kasperczak, Spiritual Awakening Core Energy Coach, and my soul's purpose is to help women to get their shit together so they can break free from that mental prison that they find themselves in and live the life that they love and are proud of. And to help you do just that, today's topic, story time with Yana, which is not just a story of one, but a story of many, 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 many women and just humans in general. So without giving you one specific story, we will talk today about why is everything that you want is outside of your comfort zone. And without further ado, I feel like you already know the answer and know exactly why all the things that you want are outside of your comfort zone. So I'll go over that for a little bit and then just help you see what you can do about it. So the reason why everything that you want that you don't already have is outside of your comfort zone is because you are not the person that you need to be in order for you to have what you want and to keep and hold on to what you want for the rest of your life. You're not that person. If you were that person, you would have those things because you already have all those things. And that is the most painful truth sometimes to people, or a painful reminder to most of us that everything that we want is outside of the comfort zone. And I'll use an example of relationship. This is the one that I work with everyone when it comes to living a happy and fulfilling life. When it comes to love, it is not just in a relationship. We want love throughout our whole entire day and life, where we're just feeling love, we're feeling happy and safe. And sometimes it doesn't feel like that in the relationships. And everybody wants that perfect, happy relationship, right? And everybody knows that it takes work and effort to have that relationship that they want. But what about how do I put it? I'm just trying to ask it in the question of what is your vision and definition of a perfect and a happy relationship? Because I asked that question, but I'm sure you've already asked that question of yourself, but never answered it. We all ask really powerful questions of ourselves, but very rarely do we actually answer them. So if you do take the time to sit down and figure out what is it that you want and get very clear about what's involved in there, because you start to understand and see who do you need to be in order for you to have that thing that you want, that happy relationship, that perfect job that you want. No matter what it is that you want in your life, you need to spend time figuring out and getting clear on exactly what it is that you do want, and understand that there's going to be work that you need to do on yourself to grow yourself to become a certain person that you know you need to become, an individual. Your personality needs to change and evolve in order for you to have that thing that you want. Hi, Rebecca. Nice to see you again. We just saw each other a little back. And this topic I know is something that all of us face. All of us get to a point in our life when it just feels like no matter what it is that we're doing or we're trying to achieve or have, that it feels like it's outside of our comfort zone, no matter how big or small. I know for me, I'll use, for example, these videos. Doing live videos was outside of my comfort zone, completely outside of my comfort zone. But that was how many years ago? Now, not having gone live on my personal page as I am doing now, because I haven't done it for so long, of course it felt a little alien and uncomfortable last week. This week, I'm perfectly fine. But it takes a minute to understand who we are, what we want, and why we're wanting this specific thing, and reminding ourselves that when we're feeling the discomfort, it is for a reason, and it is on purpose, and it is something that we actually asked for. We asked for this when we either prayed or cried for help in asking of the things that we wanted. And here you go. Take it. But not everything that we ask for is the very thing that we want. So when it comes to, as I was talking about, having a happy relationship or perfect relationship, however you want to define it, because perfection is something that I don't want to say doesn't exist, because I believe perfection is one of our drivers as well. Us chasing perfection, because let's be honest, we all get to there's certain things in our life that we start to identify as this. If this is how it was, this will be perfect. So we have things in our life that are perfect, but then what happens after a while? That standard of perfection, it moves. And it moves again, and it moves again, and it moves again. And the same thing for all the other things that you want. And then getting clear on what you want, then what do you need to do to have that thing that you want, to have that relationship that you want? What do you need to do? Do you know what a happy and healthy relationship and a flourishing and a perfect relationship looks like, feels like, sounds like? What is taking place in this perfect relationship? And did you know that the only way for any one couple to have that perfect relationship is through personal growth and personal development of one individual, not the couple coming together and doing the work together? Yes, that's definitely going to help, and it's going to bring together, but you got to do work individually. You're not living your life attached to one another. You're not Siamese twins. You got to live your life separately and individually, and then come together and share about what you've learned, or even better, show what you've learned through your actions and behaviors. And let me tell you that when you see the changes in yourself, you will see the changes in the other person. Too many of you, I'm pointing that out, and you know who you are, want your partner to change and think that you don't need to do anything or very little to change, when the reality is that if you're noticing that your partner has a lot of work to do in becoming the person that you think and believe you want them to be, that means you're looking at that mirror. That means that you yourself are that person that has a lot of work to do. So your lenses and your perceptions change, and you start seeing that human being in front of you as that same hurting child that you are. So Rebecca says, powerful circle today. Yes, it was a really, really great one. Really releasing. I have been carrying things for a little too long. So you got to witness that unloading and unleashing, and just feeling of love, gratitude, and at the same time hurt. We can feel all those simultaneously. It's a roller coaster ride, right? On a roller coaster, you're not just feeling fear and panic. You're feeling hopeful and grateful that you have harnesses and things keeping you in place. And then Rebecca said, I definitely have been experiencing that. we need to lead by example as well. Perfect. That is exactly why personal development and personal growth come into play, where if you go to couples therapy and you have not done individual work, you will be told to go and do individual work and then continue to come together. That you're not going to be just coming and one conversation a week is not going to fix anything. It can help and improve, but it's not going to fix things, at least right away. It will take time. That means doing the work on yourself and on your relationship. And when I'm talking about relationship right now, it is not necessarily just with your partner. It is also with your job, with your career, with your friends, with your family, with yourself. It is with your animals. It's with your house. It's with your backyard. It's with your neighbors. Relationship in general. Any relationship that you want to improve, you got to do work on yourself. And your employees or your coworkers, depending on how your job or career is structured, they will notice. Your friends and family, they will notice. Everyone will notice that you have changed. Now, here's the kicker. Those of you that have been changing and growing and evolving and becoming the best version of yourself every single day, you know that journey itself is outside of your comfort zone, because you are losing people right, left, center, and from every side and direction, because you can no longer relate, because you no longer speak the same language, because they cannot see you as that new version of you, because they can't get past the old version of you. That's the one that they're familiar and comfortable with. Just like yourself, where you keep finding yourself going back to your old habits, your old patterns that you know are not good, and you've done all the work that you believe you could to overcome it, but it still keeps coming back, is the same for them. They are going to keep going back to, okay, I accept you as you are, and no, I don't, I can't. It's because it challenges them to grow and evolve and to do something different. And most people don't want to do that. So what's going to happen more often than not is those people are going to leave and clean out the space for you to have quality people. And all you need is all you need. You got to figure out how many people that is for you. I'm a total introvert. It might come across as I'm an extrovert, but I am not. I am an introvert, and I love spending time with myself and with one or two people, usually not at once, one by one. It's easier and funner that way, but sometimes it's funner to come together as a group. But that itself is managing all of these people and these energies. So, hi Debbie, nice to see you on here as well. Let me see, there's some, why is the comments keep going? And Rebecca as well, it's all connected to balance. Yeah, everything is about balance. It's just fine doing a little bit here, a little bit there. We're not going to feel the greatest every single day. Sometimes we can do 100 meditations in a day, or spend not 100 hours in a day, but you know what I mean. Like it feels like you spend a whole entire day working on yourself, working on what you're working through and healing this discomfort within your body, that you come out of that meditation, you come out of that space, and you're right back up to where you were before. And that's okay. That's okay. Because what you're actually doing is you're strengthening that muscle. And before you know it, you won't have that many bad days, and you'll be able to work through those feelings and emotions most of the time. Some days will be harder than others, depending on your life, right? That it becomes easier with practice, just like anything else, right? Just like you another way to describe why is everything outside of your comfort zones, why is everything that I want makes me scared? Why am I scared of all the things that I want? It's because you were told that you weren't allowed, you weren't good enough to have the things that you want. So you learn to be scared of those things that you want because it's either you don't have money, you don't have time, you're not ready, or if you have it, you're going to lose it. So why even bother? Among many other ways of how we allow ourselves to stay in our comfort zones and not face our fears, not step into the lion's den, if you will, to rescue your inner hurt, terrified child. So, and then Rebecca says, many people don't realize that humans evolve, change, and grow internally as well as externally. They think they know us because they know us in the past. Exactly. And they assume that you have not changed. You know that whole phrase or question that is being asked, do you believe everyone is capable of change? And I love asking that question because it helps me to identify how closed, open-minded someone is. And I recognize that majority of the people that I talk to, they are closed-minded, because within that question, if you are open-minded, and this is my own interpretation of observing people, is that if you are open-minded, you believe that everyone is capable of change, no matter how twisted a person is. Are they capable of becoming the president? Absolutely not. Or absolutely yes, depending on circumstances. But everyone is capable of changing. It might not be to your liking, but they're capable of change. And change is something that they gotta choose for themselves, just like all of us. And too many people will, why do you bring up the past in conversation? When you're having a conversation with someone, you're trying to get a point across, why do you bring up the past? Because it helps you to show this person that you understand them in a way. It helps you to remind them that who they were. And in a way, perhaps you are asking them, help me see you in a different way, because this is all I know. This is all I know about you. So I can't get past this until you show me otherwise. So that's why people in your life are struggling to accept you, because they are only seeing this and this and that, and they're not able to see the whole entire view around them until you start showing up, right, for yourself, and just showing up for yourself and doing things for yourself every single day. And some will get it and others will not. Those that are meant to be yours still stay with you. You already know this. It's just a reminder. And Rebecca says, quality people are those that are in alignment with our journey. Yeah, those that help us feel heard, seen, validated, understood, supported, not tolerated, but supported, and encouraged and inspired and motivated. That's, to me, a quality person. And to me, that is what I call a friend. The definition of a friend has evolved just as much as I have evolved, and that's why I can count the amount of friends that I have on one hand, and I'm proud to say that, because I don't need to have the people that are not in alignment, that are a drain, right? There's a gain or a drain. And if I'm being drained and there is no value in the drainage, then it ain't gonna happen. And the same thing goes for them. If they're not being fed by, your life being less perfect than theirs, that makes them feel good, then that's okay. It's time for new ones. And Debbie says, the community I live in, 55 plus, is so negative. I try to socialize, but tend to go to stay at the pool when it is less busy. Ooh, that, how many friends do you have in that community, if any? Because that is also challenging when you're living in a community and it's just like everyone is negative. Or do you have any friends that you have that are not so negative? None. So glad that we live in this world where we have the digital and we can get friends anywhere we want, and they are the ones that are, how do I put it? Some people might say that the friends that you have online are not real. They're not real friends. Whereas, how many of you can say that the people that the friends that you have online, that you have, that are actually, like, I don't even know how to phrase it outside of more real than anyone else? Because I can say that the friends that I have are valuable. And it took me 37 years to get here. Right? So, and here's the other kicker. Once in a while, I would catch myself feeling like I have to reach out to someone to validate them, and not necessarily for the friendship, because there is no friendship. It's just, oh, they might start thinking a certain way and maybe I should reach out. And that is not coming from a place of love. That approach comes from a place of I have to, I must. And when you do a lot of those things, I have to, I must, that are not in alignment of who you are and who you want to be, then you're just pushing yourself further away from who you want to be. And what else? And then Debbie said, the money story is huge. Yeah, the money story is huge for every single human being. No doubt. Well, not every single human being. Most, because others have worked through it, and that's why they have an abundance of it, because they have worked through it. Their mindset is different. That's what a money story is. It is a story, and a story is what creates a mindset. Our mindset, what it is, it's a bunch of little stories and big stories that make up our mindset, that make up our programming, if we will, that is the driver of our existence. So if we don't like our existence, we gotta go inside of ourselves and do the work as an individual. Personal development, personal growth, self-care, self-love is part of that as well. And then reap the rewards. And then Debbie said quality, not quantity. Yeah, quality of people makes a huge difference. How many of you enjoy going to spend time with people that are just draining you? There's a show, I think it's on Disney Plus, called something, What We Do in the Shadows, and I found it to be really interesting. There's quite a few things that we can relate to in that show. And one thing I've noticed is that, the vampires in the show, they're over hundreds of years old, and they have done no personal growth, no personal development. It's very clear, very evident. But thinking about what if they did, how different would the show be? And obviously it would be an entirely different show. It wouldn't be as funny, it wouldn't be as entertaining, or it would be different kind of entertaining. But using something like that as an example to how many of us actually live our life being scared of doing the work in ourselves. And whatever that work actually means. For some of you, might be going for a walk, or exercise, or fixing your nutrition, or sleep, or friendships, or relationships. It could be anything. And it is not as scary as we make it out to be in our mind. You know, doing that work, doing that exercise. If we are not happy with how we look, then only we, or we as the royal individual, right, can do the work, can do the physical and the mental work that is required for us to be ready to not only have the body that we want, but the mindset that is going to allow us to keep that body. This is one of the things that does anger me about the health and wellness and the weight loss industry, as I was part of it as well, so I can understand it better, is that it's a mindset. It really is a mindset. You don't need any products. You don't need any of that stuff. Yes, some of it you might for actual health or the actual wellness part, but most of it you do not need. You don't need some kind of product to help you reduce your weight. What you need is someone to help you fix your mindset. So that way you understand what is required for you to get your shit together in the area of nutrition, and watch yourself get into the clothes that you want to get into. Because, like I said, it is the mindset. It is not about, yes, it is about what you eat, of course, but it's not about what you eat, not about what you drink. It's about how much and how conscious are you about exactly what you're putting into your body. That's why I say it's a mindset. You becoming aware and conscious of every single thing that you are consuming, internal or externally, on your body. And that no matter what you're going to be bringing into this world, there are going to be side effects. Now, good or bad, that's entirely up to you. You know that when you have a small slice of cake, you're okay. But you know if you have a big slice of cake, you're not going to be okay. So that is why the mindset is important. The mindset is the thing that is going to help you to have that little slice of cake and enjoy it and not want to have more, that you will be satiated with just one little sliver of this cake. Or you might also have the mindset of, that is poison and I don't want to eat it, right? And of course, if obviously it's not poison, cakes are awesome, right? But you know what I mean. It's like kind of the spectrum of the black and white, where you have a lot of choices in between to help you make better and informed decisions for yourself. But no matter what it is that you're doing, when it comes to a happy and perfect relationship, it is the mindset as well. If your mindset is from a place of, how could he do this to me, versus what is he doing for me? The same fight, the same argument, different question. And that is the mindset, where you're asking yourself these questions. When you're approaching it in a different way within yourself, when you're interpreting scenarios or experiences in your life, that it is your mindset that helps you to feel good or bad. So if you're not, like I said, if you're not liking how it's translating things for you, then that is where you go and start identifying where you need to do the work and how. Anyways, let me see the comments. I want to make sure the comments are all gone before I hop off. And hi, Lisa. So happy to have you on here. Lucy says, surprised you are on, but happy to hear you again. We all have vampires in our lives. Yeah, we definitely all have vampires. And yeah, you know, I decided that I was going to be going live on my page every Tuesday after the Sacred Circle, because I have not been going live on my page, and also to help people perhaps migrate to the group if that is the place for them. So this would be a perfect time. If you are enjoying this type of content, there's so much more in our Facebook group called Heal the Unicorn, Spiritual Awakening for Women, because I only do this live once a week. In the group there's 3 live videos, 2 I do, and then 1 Bethany and I do, which is the podcast. And there's so much gold in there. So like I said, if this content that you're listening to, if it's landing, there's going to be so much more in there in the group. So then Lisa, my comments keep sliding. Lisa says, I love it because I see all the beauty in my results. Healthy decisions, mindset, and growth is why I feel lighter and so much more free of stress. It is as the way we consume it and let it reside in you, because I had to open to read more. To reside in, yeah, it's how you consume it, how you translate it. Our mind, there's always a dialogue happening in our mind. And when we're consuming any kind of information, right, not just this information here, but as you're going, let's say you were walking with your dog and you witnessed something happen, you're going to be consuming that information. You're going to be interpreting it for yourself and telling yourself stories to help in understanding what is happening outside of your world in the world, right? There is the world that we all live in, and then there's the actual world that we each live in, and that is the only real world. The only real world to us is in here, not outside of our body. Outside of our body, we can manipulate how we see it. We can. And when we start manipulating how we're seeing the world, and not in a negative way, right? And of course, it could be in a negative way. By what I mean by manipulating it is translating what we're experiencing in the way that is actually fueling us instead of draining us, and therefore our perception of the world starts to change because we are changing the way we are viewing the world. So the world starts to change, but it didn't change. All it changed was our perception, our view, and our stories that we have been telling ourselves about the world, and in the way that we have been telling those stories. And back to what Debbie said, when there are so many people that are negative around us, it is actually much more challenging to drown out all of that energy. And even if you're not interacting with those people, they're still in your space and in your bubble. That means that you get the opportunity to do that much more work to become stronger in those places where the negativity is seeping in, right? So our comfort zone, or the feeling of leaving our comfort zone, is usually a flag that of this is where I need to do a little bit more work and grow. So I don't want to leave this world and this planet being fearful of it. I want to leave this world and this planet being in awe of it and having experienced everything that I wanted to in this lifetime, because that's all we get. And how many of you are denying yourself the things that you know you want every single day? Throughout, in the morning you wake up, there's certain things that you want and you deny yourself those things. Throughout the day, there's certain things that you want and you deny yourself those things. You will find all the reasons that you need to continue denying yourself the things that you want, because you do not believe you are worthy of those things yet. And you are right, because when you believe you are worthy of those things, you will have them and you will keep them. That means you got some work to do in order for you to be ready to have those things that you want and keep them. Because if we're not, like I said in the beginning, in order for us to have the things that we want, we need to become a different person. And only you can figure out what that is for you, what that means for you, what that sounds like, what that looks like for you and to you, to be a different person. And last thing, Debbie says, I go and try to spread smiles and compliments. There you go. That's a very, very powerful way to help to infect everyone else with positivity. Why not? Right? They give you negativity, you gotta drown them with positivity. So that way that starts to seep out of them and they can't control the positivity versus they can't control the negativity. And that's actually what is happening, is that they're not aware, they're not in control of their negativity. And once they become aware of the negativity, it will take them time to become in control of it and continue to uncover where else is the negativity. Because it's like, teddy bear comes to mind. Just think of a teddy bear that has all the fingers and everything, and you're stuffing it, right? You're stuffing it with the stuffing all through the fingers and everything. Negativity is that way, where it gets stuffed deep, deep, deep into all the places, and you gotta pull it out, you gotta understand it and work through it and release it. Because if we don't understand it, we can't let go of it. We continue to hold on to these things like they're trophies. Because in the way they are, we have survived this, whatever this is for you. And now the trophy that many people that are carrying the negativity is their survival stories, but in a negative and draining way, because they have not healed through that, the muck that comes with the growth. And then Debbie says, when I worked, I told others to kill them with kindness. There you go. Kill people with kindness. If somebody is bitter and miserable, you don't have to join them. You don't. You can show them the other side. You can remind them. You know, granted, some of them will be rubbed the wrong way, but they needed to be. They needed to be rubbed the wrong way so they can be reminded of what they themselves want is already inside of them, right? That they want to be happy. Nobody wants to be miserable. Nobody wants to be negative. Nobody wants to be sad. Nobody wants that. But most of the people are actually addicted to it in a way. We are addicted to negativity. And how do you know if you are addicted to negativity? Is if you are watching things or listening to things that are making you feel less, or drain you, or you feel tired, or you feel anger or irritated after that, or you continue to do the same habits or the same actions or inactions that cause you feel like crap, and yet you know exactly what you need to do, but you're not doing it. And that the reason why is because you're actually addicted to that feeling of feeling like crap. The moment that I admitted that I was addicted to depression, to being negative, to being sad, I was listening to Tony Robbins said something and it triggered me, and it was like an avalanche of tears and emotion. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm seeing things so much more clearly, that I was this strong, powerful woman, and all of a sudden I went through a lot. We all have gone through a lot. That's, life is that way. It gives us a lot of experiences that we can remember and recall, and they're there in our memory, buried deep, and some of them are to the surface. But it takes time to get to become a negative person, and it takes time to become a positive person. Nobody's born negative. It is their life journey and circumstances that have made them that way. And at some point, they had chosen to stay that way unconsciously by continuing to replay the same stories that were not serving them and not doing the work that was required, that they didn't even know they needed to do because they were not aware, to overcome it, to heal it, to grieve whatever they needed to grieve in order for them to go to that next step, next stage. In order for you to get to the next level of yourself, you need to grieve the old version of yourself. You need to celebrate that old version of yourself before you can fully embrace that new version of yourself. And you can do that every day, because every day you are a new person. And you just got to continue to remind yourself that you are not going to beat yourself up for your old self, for something that is in the past. You're not going to beat yourself up. You're not going to make yourself feel any worth less than you already do. But what you're going to do is remind yourself that is not who you are. That is who you were. And what can you do differently now, in this moment, in this second, and not about what you could have done or you should have done. The coulds and the shoulds, they don't make the difference. They don't make the changes. What does make the changes is, what are you going to do now, going forward, about what you've learned about yourself from the past, and not bring up the past in the own dialogue for yourself to remind yourself of who you were and beat yourself up, so that way you just send the energy back into the past and not have any for the present moment, and then going into the future. So anyways, that is all. That's all I have for you guys for today. Thank you for being on here, and thank you for chatting, for adding so much more value on here. And then Lisa also said, where is it? I love it because I see all the beauty. Oh no, that's the part that she said. Oh, just the it is part. And then, Joe wasn't here. Hi, Joe Myers. And what else? The comments are kind of sliding back up and down. I can't see them properly. Rebecca said, Debbie, here in Southern California, people are not friendly and in their own world. I still go around smiling and complimenting every woman I can. Yeah. There are some areas where people are just in their own world. It's almost like the word aristocrats comes to mind. Just being unreadable, being one-faced, one mask, and don't let anyone out. And I don't know about you, but that does not scream freedom to me, or happiness or joy. And then women have to realize that we are not competition. That's what Rebecca said. Yeah, we're not in competition with one another. We're in competition with ourselves. We honestly can't even compete with one another. We lived entirely different lives. We can't even compare. Yeah, we can in a way compete. In competition, there's healthy competition and there's unhealthy competition. It's part of performance. I went through performance dynamics. And part of performance is you performing at your best. And in performance, there is comparison in there. And it can be done in a healthy way, and it can be done in an unhealthy way. The choice is yours. And then Lisa says, today, thanks, Deb, I will be leaving random notes and stickers in the community. Ooh, that's a good one too. I've even seen painted rocks. I know this was during COVID. There was a lot of painted rocks with a lot of positive messages, that as well. Interesting. How well, I guess this would be an interesting question that can help all of us. How can we all spread kindness today or every single day in just where we live, or in the communities where we are, where we want to contribute? How can we add value to their life? Because that's where happiness, I feel like, comes from as well. We need to see value in something in order for us to say, oh, okay, I want to be happy or happier. And then Lucy says, today, oh no, that's the one, I miss doing that. And Rebecca, it's not easy to let go. It also not easy to get to know the new version of us. Definitely. No, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And that's why there's so little, and then yet so many of us that are doing the work. And it is back and forth, where we get closer to our new version of ourselves, and then we retreat and hide in our turtle shell to help us in processing what just happened, how much we've grown, and to get closer to accepting that new version of ourselves, because it's different. If you're trying to be more outspoken and you've never spoken up, of course it's going to be uncomfortable for a while, until you get comfortable in the uncomfortable, and then it will no longer be uncomfortable. You will replace that uncomfortable with some new uncomfortableness. That is the joy of life. That is the breath of life. But we also need time to just be, and in a way be in our misery bubble, processing this joy of life, to come back to, okay, life is joyful. Let's go. Let's do this. Thank you. I rewatched from the beginning. Oh, thank you, Debbie. That's what Debbie said. Oh, I didn't finish reading what Rebecca said. However, when we do, we come into our goddess energy. Is that when we step into our new version of ourselves, that we are stepping into that goddess energy, and that is the energy that causes a lot of women to feel uncomfortable, retreat, hide, until she slowly starts to break that limit of what her self-worth is, until it's completely removed. And then Rebecca says, I'm totally doing the painted rocks things with my kids. Oh, after you showed me the pumpkins, I'm like, rocks. Paint pumpkins, leave those on the side, on the trails and paths and walks so people can see. And maybe some people will take a pumpkin home and be like, oh, I got a pumpkin. I'm thinking of it in a way, like, I have some of the rocks that we've picked and replaced with other rocks. And they are very sentimental, because messages like that's what, like, notes are going to be sentimental. The smiles are going to be sentimental as well, because we don't know, and we can't even begin to assume what someone is going through. They might tell us what they're going through, but we still even then can't assume what they're going through, because when a person speaks, just think of it this way. There's like a whole entire book, maybe like this thick, about the story that they have in their mind about what they're saying to you, but all you're hearing is just the front page or just the back page of the summary of what's inside this book, of what the person is going through. So detaching yourself from somebody else's experience is great practice for you to not create stories, or create less stories, because we're still going to be creating stories. Create less stories about others, and focus more on yourself than on them. And then Debbie said, when I was a florist, I'd give random flowers to others. Ooh, that always makes people feel good. Some people would feel uncomfortable. I know I've received a couple of flowers, just like random flowers here and there, and it made me feel uncomfortable, but in a way of, oh my God, I'm seen or noticed. I'm not invisible. And I've always been a little person, and I've been bullied by being tiny. That was my nickname. In Russian, it was kroshka, which means tiny. Honestly, kroshka just means like crumb of bread. So tiny little thing. And of course, I had to work through that as well. And I went through time where I would wear massive heels, and then I don't care for heels now. My husband is 6'5". If you want me to be taller, put me on your shoulders. There we go. Problem solved. And you're like, oh my God, Yana. No, we're not doing that. Why not? It's fun. One life. Let's have fun. Let's make everyone look at us. And, oh my God, no, Yana, don't do this. I push him outside of his comfort zone, just like he pushes me outside of my comfort zone. And in different areas of our life, by the way. Not in the same area. And this is what partnership is, with friends, with your partner, that the common goal is to help each other to grow and evolve, to be a better version of yourself, and doing it from a place of love, and figuring out how you're going to communicate love to the other person differently than what you have been thus far, because it might be the very thing that has not been translating, if you catch my drift. And then Rebecca says, my new uncomfortableness is exposing myself to the public, but it's also powerful. Yeah, because the most empowering thing we can do is be ourselves, and at least that way when people judge us, they're judging the true version of ourselves and not someone we're trying to be. So, and that's why people who are being themselves, they're not affected by what other people say, because I'm not pretending. I'm not trying to be anything I'm not. This is me, and if you don't like it, that's okay. It just breathable. You get to breathe through this process. And then Rebecca's, around here, they would throw the flowers back at us. Ooh. Wow. I'm gonna move past that one. You come to Canada is all I'm gonna say. The town I live in is very nice and friendly, that if I go for a walk, I'll end up in a conversation with someone. Even though I'm an introvert, I end up in a conversation with someone, and then an hour later, I gotta go home. So I moved out of town. I became negative because I did not want to live and surround myself with negativity. And people were getting to be like that, like snobby, and I could just start to feel it and see it in some people. And that was just one tiny reason why we wanted to leave. The biggest reason was financial freedom, seeing how things where they were going, and my intuition was on point. And I'm happy we chose this town, is all I'm gonna say. It's really my favorite town so far. Honestly, I don't see myself leaving anytime soon. That's how great this town is. Okay, now enough about this town. Lisa said some people have a hard time of acceptance, therefore they come off protective but rude. It takes many times of rejection to find the true reward. That is so true, because you get so strong through that rejection that, what's one more rejection? Like, what's another? No, I don't like you. Okay, good for you. On to the next one. Yeah, freedom right there. Lisa says we just have to pause and think of their reflection, and see their side of you, their point of view, and perhaps even have a conversation with them, because we've lost the art of communicating with one another openly and talking about our feelings and emotions openly without anyone taking it personally. And when we lose something, we can find it. And when we find it, we're less likely to lose it. So, hide and seek, right? That's a fun game. And then Rebecca says, I would love to live in Canada. Victor won't leave his family. Yeah. How do I put it? There might come a time where he will be open to leaving. And how do I put it? When he has everything he needs in the house and his family can provide, he is not going to care for leaving. But there's certain things that only family can provide, that in a household where you guys are, cannot be provided. So that is the challenging part. Anyone can move and leave, but if the heart is still there, there could be resentment as well. So I hear you with that one, Rebecca. There was time when I wanted to leave the province as well, or even the country. And there's still moments when I want to leave the country with where it's being directed. But I am not focusing on where it's being directed. I'm focusing on where we are all at peace. And for now, he might feel at peace or he might not feel at peace. And one day that might change and shift. But that also is through personal growth and personal development for him on his own to once and for all cut the umbilical cord with his parents. We all have one or had one with our parents. And until we cut it, and cut it maybe enough times that we feel free from that connection, not free in a way that, oh, they're not my mom but my dad, but free in a way that you're not so emotionally attached to what they think and say about you. Kind of like the same concept with the world and people in the world, but more so with your family, and because that one is the hardest. And maybe there's one specific person. And Debbie said, my husband feels the entitlement of people around. Yeah, right. I call it the snobbiness, the nose up, the entitledness. Sometimes it's also a facade where it's like social media. People are trying to be someone they're not, and they're just overdoing it, and that's why it's so noticeable. There's just too much chaos on the inside. They don't know how to cope. So that's why also the negativity is no. Happy people are not negative. They're not negative. They have moments and times when they experience negativity, but they're not negative people. They are positive people. And Rebecca says, that was me for many years. I didn't smile until my son asked me why I never smile. Pivotal moment. That's a great question. Why didn't you smile? Right? What stopped you, prevented you from smiling, from feeling and experiencing that joy that a smile creates and allows for? That's a great observation that your son made as well. And at such a young age too. I think that is all. I know I already started saying bye earlier and then on to the next comments. But thank you everybody for being on here and for adding value and more content through comments. And I shall see you all on our podcast tomorrow, which is Heal the Unicorn. And as I am speaking, I'll pull up the topic so that way we all know exactly what topic we're going to be talking about tomorrow on the podcast, which will be live in our Facebook group. So those of you that are watching this on the replay, because I know you ladies are in the group, so I don't have to tell you that, but just reminding you, at 11, that's my video, 1:30 Eastern time on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday we have Heal the Unicorn podcast and Heal the Unicorn Spiritual Awakening for Women Facebook group. And we're in October, right? Yes. October 15th. Oh, no. I can't even see the dates are not exactly. Oh, no, that's a wrong month. Sorry. I should, you know what? I'll get better at this. This is practice for me as well. Having the topic ready for the podcast, because I want to remind everyone of the next coming up event, which will be the podcast tomorrow at 1:30. But Bethany also does her mindfulness class at 12. So tomorrow, yeah, it's gonna be 11. Yeah, I'm still looking at the wrong month. Why cultivating gratitude is important. That's what we're going to be talking about. So yeah, the 11th. Why cultivating gratitude is important. We're going to be talking about everything and anything gratitude, and on top of it, the importance of it, and how to have more of it, and understanding what gratitude is and what it feels like, what it isn't. And it's just a facade, as I was talking about, when we're all trying to be grateful, but we're not gratitude. It's doing and being. That's it. Other than that, Lisa said, be yourself, step back and reflect. Exactly. Just being yourself, and then you can step back and see who you are, reflect on it, and do better next time if you need to, or do the same, right? Reflecting does not mean you got to do better. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it just means I did a great job. Congratulate yourself, applaud yourself for it, remind yourself that you're worthy of that, and you'll have more and more and more of it, and then you'll have more and more of that. Otherwise, I will see you guys all on the podcast tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, for the cultivating of gratitude and the importance of it. And until then, bye guys.